Forgot to unsilence my Rode mic. That's 2 days in a row with a glitch right out the gate. Live from a studio apartment, this is Misinformation. It's better when you can hear me, I think. Where is this stuff? Well, a terrorist filmed himself. Let's try it again. Now with teleprompter. Sweet. Perfect. Well, a terrorist was filmed boosting himself off the back of a leftist protester to throw a bomb.
We were born and raised in New York, and we want everyone here to stay in New York. You don't get to come from outside and then tell everyone else.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah, the leftist protester said the least he could do for his Muslim brothers was to bend over and offer a free backshot. He did get an assist for that. That was a full assist. It's Trump claims that we've sunk 46 Iranian ships. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, Iran's trying to stay positive. They said they just added 46 new submarines. Yeah. Not bad. Glass half full, if you're Iran. Those are the jokes tonight. Is what I came up with in the car ride over to the... Let me pull up the chat. I went to the, like a throat doctor today. Because I'm a smoker. I had to get it checked out. I'm at that age where they start prodding you with stuff. They start putting stuff in your body to look for things. So, anyways, I had to have one of those. Oh my God, it's like a nasal. They put the little cable through your nose. That was crazy. But anyways, car ride. Came up with some jokes. So those were thems. We're good, right? Yeah, sweet. So we're going to do some news now. We'll go over the top stories. Let me pull up the Twitter. One sec. How's everyone's day? I'll try to pull up the other chat in a second too. Let's get this going. Chat. What's up, chat? What's up? What's up? What's up, Jill? Weston's daddy. Weston's daddy we got in here. Jill. Okay. Let's do this. So, big stories from today. Let's check it out. Mostly kind of some addendums to the stuff we covered yesterday. So, I mean, this is just randomly open, but this is a picture. If you haven't heard of it yet, there was the other day in New York, Jake Lang was doing a protest there against Muslims being in the city, which, by the way, he's way more kind of on the right than this on this topic than I probably am. I'm against illegal immigration, but and I think we do need to have like quotas for certain things. But he goes as far as to like stand outside of Mayor Mamdani's office and claim that, you know, Mamdani being a mayor of New York is somehow bad because he's Muslim. I wouldn't go that far. You know, I'm not quite there with him. But I do always support his right to get up, protest, say whatever he wants. These guys here don't. So apparently these were two. My understanding is that they're not illegal immigrants. They are naturalized, or they're the sons of some naturalized citizens. I think one of their parents is Turkish. I forget what the other one is, maybe Afghani. whose parents were both naturalized, back in around 2017, 2020. These guys showed up to the protest, obviously didn't like what Jake Lang was saying, threw some improvised explosive devices at him. Which, whether you're against what Jake Lang is saying or not, that didn't help their case, right? Them showing up with the IEDs. So the crazy part, for me, the craziest part of the story, though, was that when Mayor Mamdani came out, when the news headlines came out yesterday, they all tried to start the story by blaming Islamophobia, essentially, and white supremacy for what occurred. So we reviewed yesterday, like, all the major headlines, started off with Islamophobia and white supremacy. Mamdani came out with a statement that made it sound almost like, Jake Lang had caused these problems and what he was saying wasn't acceptable in New York. And then he references the violence in such a way where it almost makes it sound like Jake threw a bomb at the rally even, right? So today you had the New York Times has amended their headline from yesterday. I think they got just a ton of backlash. They finally conceded. So yesterday, this was the original headline that they released about the bombing in New York City. They called it "Smoking Jars of Metal and Fuses Thrown at Protest Near Mayor's House," right? That got a ton of backlash online. They finally come out 24 hours later and clarified the headline to be "Homemade Bomb Thrown at Protest Near New York City's Mayor's House," police say. Yes, that is what more accurately occurred. They're close. They didn't mention the terrorist attack in the top headline. They mentioned, I think, below there, but clarifying that statement. And then, to be fair, Mamdani came out today. His original tweet did not mention an Islamic terrorist attack at all. He failed to mention it completely. Now today, he does acknowledge it. He says, Emir, these are the names of the two terrorists who threw the IED, Amir Balat and Ibrahim Kayumi, have been charged with committing a heinous act of terrorism and proclaiming their allegiance to ISIS. I guess if they proclaim allegiance to ISIS, you really can't argue about it anymore, right? Settled terrorists. So he says they should be fully held accountable for their actions. We will continue to keep New Yorkers safe. We will not tolerate terrorism or violence in our city. Shocking. Shocking that he finally came out with it. How hard was it for him to come out with that statement? But we had, again, Mamdani not fully acknowledging the problem. As you can see here, he had a speech about the event today. And rather than starting with what he probably should have started with, the Islamic terror attack in New York City, he leads off his speech by condemning Islamophobia. Take a listen. If the link will work. There we go.
Good morning. On Saturday, a protest was held outside Gracie Mansion, where I live with my wife, Rama. Neither of us were home at the time. This was a vile protest rooted in white supremacy entitled "Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City." I'm the first Muslim mayor of our city. Anti-Muslim bigotry is nothing new to me, nor is it anything new for the 1 million or so Muslim New Yorkers who know this city as our home.
I mean, and that's great, and he might have a valid point, right? I don't necessarily agree with what Jake Lang was saying, but there's no need to lead off with that as the opening, right? As Zen Wokeness points out here. And then there's a funny retweet above it where Norm Macdonald had an old tweet, and someone says, Norm Macdonald had originally tweeted, "What terrifies me is if ISIS were to detonate a nuclear device and kill 50 million Americans. Imagine the backlash against peaceful Muslims." That's one of Norm Macdonald's classics, and someone says, it's Wokeness says, he did the Norm Macdonald tweet. Which is pretty much it. This is, by the way, so we referenced this in the opening, but there was actually, what was crazy about it too is we got this insane video. So at the time, right before the Muslim guy threw the bomb, there was, I guess he's a leftist comedian, maybe also activist. He's kind of big on Twitter. I forget his name. I think it's Mathewson. Let me find it. Well, here's the video of him. We'll get into it in a sec.
Born and raised in New York.
Okay, so this guy, Walter Masterson, he apparently goes to like activist areas and does kind of protests or activism there while then reposting clips to kind of satirize the right on social media. That's my understanding of him. So he was at this protest, protesting against Jake Lang being there and calling him all sorts of stuff. And he says right here on Twitter, this is him tweeting a video of himself. He says, "I was in the middle of saying, as a born and raised New Yorker, we welcome everyone into this city when he threw that over my head. What is that? It was the bomb." Okay, and here's a video of the actual event here. Make it a little bigger.
We were born and raised in New York, and we want everyone here to stay in New York. You don't get to come from outside and then tell everyone else.
Absolutely insane. So the guy actually boosts himself off of the guy's back, which is what the opening joke referred to hurl an IED while the guy is in the middle of saying that New York should be inclusive to everyone and we're not going to let outsiders come in and tell us who can or can't be in the city. And then a Muslim extremist hurls an IED literally over his head, using his back to boost himself up. Boosting himself off the back of a leftist to throw the IED. And what's crazy about this is Walter then goes on to clarify, and I still stand by it. He still stands by it. As a born and raised in New Yorker, everyone is welcome. Does that include the guy that threw the ISIS attacker? That includes him. He says everyone except Chief, that's what he says, goat something, Jake Lang. This is a reference, by the way, so this is some of the stuff I don't like from Jake Lang. I guess he brought a goat to the protest the other day and was mocking Islamic people, whatever. So he doesn't like him. Okay, but he says he stands by what he was saying, all right, with all of the irony and everything that happened, right? Here's so people are making fun of him on Twitter. Here's let me find it. We got that. This is the psyop anime version. It really just outlines the whole situation. Psyop anime is a really cool account on Twitter. If you don't follow them, you should. They basically, I think they might use AI to do this, I'm assuming, but they basically take news events and then they create an AI like anime video of it, but they're actually really good. Here, take a look.
私たちはニューヨークで生まれ育ちました。そしている皆さん、ここにいる皆さんにはニューヨークに残ってほしいのです。私はアイセスに忠誠を誓う。アラフアクバル。
これらの卑劣な行為の原因は明らかです。白人至上主義です。
Very accurate. It's basically exactly what happened. Leftist protester.
ここにいる皆さんにはニューヨークに残ってほしいのです。私はアイセスに忠誠を誓う。アラフアクバル。
Basically attributing everything to white supremacy. You know. So here's there's someone on Twitter saying it's an all-time photo here. They're saying frame it in the Louvre. This is really an all-time photo. A protester shouting about the pros of immigration is interrupted by the terrorists throwing a bomb over him. I agree. This was so just again going into how the media is covering it, because that's one of the things I like to do here is point out disingenuous reporting. So here's CBS doing a report on the ISIS attacks that happened. The problem is that they show Trump supporters for some reason. I think we all know why.
Tonight, the FBI is investigating two men after an explosive device with bolts and screws was thrown into a crowd. It happened in New York City on Saturday.
I don't know why they chose the Persian Trump supporters to illustrate the topic on terrorism, but there you have it. The terrorism investigation must always include videos of Trump. Maybe that's because their leftist viewers only understand terrorists to be Trump supporters. So they just have to give them something to go off of that makes sense for them.
Device with bolts.
Here's if you haven't seen this, This is one point to clarify from yesterday's show. So this is a video of one of the terror suspects lighting a bomb, and he takes this and he throws it at the feet of a police officer, which we'll see here in a sec. There we go. This is actually a slowed down version. Let me find it so you can see what's happening. Less blurry. Okay, slowed down version here. There we go. Right there, he drops the nail bomb at the feet of an officer who almost like kicks it away. And this guy actually jumps over the fence to go straight at the terrorist, which people are loving. They like the fact that those NYPD officers went straight into the danger. This is a photo of him here, hopping that rail. Pretty epic photo. Now keep in mind, these are the same guys that just a week ago, their own mayor, Mayor Mamdani, was denigrating for daring to complain about being hit and bleeding from a snowball, essentially, fight that broke out, got out of hand. People were hitting him, pelting him with, you know, frozen blocks of ice and stuff in the face. So same guys now running into the face of terrorists to stop them with bombs being thrown at their feet. These are the guys that he's putting down, saying that they can walk it off, right? But that's the photo of them. Here's an NBC article which refers to the terrorists as an activist at the same time that they're calling Jake Lang a white supremacist. It says an activist holds a homemade explosive device before throwing it towards police during a protest organized by far-right influencer Jake Lang. Far-right influencer versus this young activist. It's the face of Democrat activism right now. It's actually throwing bombs. Based on current headlines, it actually is. Actually is. So, what else we got here? Check the chat. How's everyone doing? All good? Cool. Psyop anime we did. Slowed down. Okay. Another important point about this. So I guess there was, this was in the news a little bit today. Allegedly, the U.S. has reportedly intercepted encrypted conversations from the Iranian government meant to trigger sleeper cells across the West, including in the U.S. per ABC. So we'll go into it a little bit here.
That may serve as threats outside Iran. ABC News reports Iran may be activating sleeper cells. Quote, the U.S. has intercepted encrypted communications believed to have originated in Iran that may serve as an operational trigger for sleeper assets outside the country. If true, further illustrating Secretary of State Marco Rubio's point, we are fighting a terrorist government.
The United States is currently engaged in an operation targeting the world's leading hostage taker, the world's leading sponsor of terrorism. They are trying to hold the world hostage. They are attacking their neighbors. They are attacking neighboring countries, their energy infrastructure, their civilian population. They're attacking embassies. This is a terrorist government. This is a terroristic regime.
So this was one of my biggest fears with unchecked immigration, right? I had this argument with my sister, and she was kind of like trying to make it sound like I was racist because I was like, oh, I think we should have, you know, borders. We shouldn't just allow everyone in. She was like, oh, what? Because you don't like Mexicans? And I was like, no, because number one, if you're letting anybody in, who's to stop Iran or Russia or anybody, China, from just sending in sleeper cell terrorists who can set up across the country, get a little job, live their life, and then whenever they're ready, just start coordinating terrorist attacks. So apparently, and I guess what they're saying, I haven't looked into this too much yet, and I haven't seen any other reporting really on it, but they're saying they may have intercepted some type of encrypted conversations, which would like include trigger instructions for these sleeper cells. To be honest, they're doing pretty well without the encrypted instructions. You got the terrorists throwing the IDs already in New York City. There was recently that other terror attack in, I think it was Austin, Texas. So I don't even know that they need a trigger word at this point. Their trigger word just might be Trump. Might just be it. But that's something to keep an eye out on. And we hope, of course, it turns out to not be true. So some other reporting about it. I guess somebody was saying that the two people who had coordinated the attacks yesterday apparently did not know each other.
Different age groups. They are not known to be from different parts of Pennsylvania. They're in different age groups. They are not known to each other. They did not live together. They did not have family or school ties. There is no reason to believe they knew each other prior to this incident.
So the troubling thing about that people are pointing out is that means it was easy enough for them to just meet at this event and convince the other person to join them in an act of terror that you don't even need to know the other person to plan in advance. That's something that someone was kind of cheekily pointing out. I mean, what did they do if they didn't know each other? They go to a Muslim extremist meetup? Was that what this is? Is that what happened here? I don't know. The point to clarify from yesterday, I didn't realize there were two different bombs. So I was doing reporting on the Jake Lang incident. It was all at the same protest, but apparently the guy with the long hair, I think he threw both of them, but he threw one at Jake Lang, who was at the protest. And that video that we saw before of him jumping the barrier, that was when he threw a second device. I'm not sure which one came first, at police officers. So he had thrown multiple devices. There are multiple videos of him throwing devices. I was confusing them, thinking it was one full video of him throwing a device at Jake Lang. So I guess this was two videos, just a point of clarification. New reporting also will shift over to Iran a little bit. So, I mean, first of all, for starters, just general Iran update. This kind of sums it up here. This is the Babylon Bee. Iran boasts it has destroyed hundreds of U.S. missiles with its buildings. I thought that was a good one. And it kind of does sum up the war so far for Iran. This is Trump. Trump's doing some victory laps already. I'm going to have a little segment entitled just Trump stand-up. Trump stand-up comedy. Here's some Trump stand-up for you today. Here's him saying no other president could do some of this shit that he's doing right now.
Said this about a lot of things. No other president can do some of this shit I'm doing. No other president. The things I'm doing, nobody else was going to do it. They say it all the time, sir, could you do this? You're the only one can do it. Done.
He's great, man. He gets to these big events, these like speakers events, and he just has like a whole stand-up comedy routine. He just starts riffing. This is him, I think at the same event, asking why I guess his commanders told him that we've sunk 46 Iranian battleships, and he was asking them why we didn't just capture the ships if they were good quality. Another Trump stand-up bit.
The Navy is gone. It's all lying at the bottom of the ocean. 46 ships. Can you believe it? In fact, I got a little upset with our people. I said, what quality of ship? Excellent, sir. Top of the line. I said, why did we just capture the ship? We could have used it. Why did we sink them? They said, it's more fun to sink them. I said, they like sinking them better. They say it's safer to sink them. I guess it's probably true. But think of it. We knocked out 46, and actually took 3.5 days. Their terrorist leaders are gone. We're counting down the minutes until they...
He has a running gag he does, I've noticed, a running bit where he's like, all of their ships are gone. We killed all of their terrorist leaders. We destroyed their entire air force. Other than that, they're doing great. That's his running bit. He actually does have like stand-up bits that he does. I've seen him do that joke at like 3 different events. So that was a pretty good one. Update on the girls' elementary school in Mirab. So yesterday, the New York Times, other major outlets, let me kind of pull something up here, came out saying that they basically had even more evidence to confirm that the strike that killed, I think it was 175 girls, tragic, obviously, at an Iranian girls' elementary school connected to that Iranian Revolutionary Guard naval base, that they had definitive evidence it was a U.S. Tomahawk missile that took it down. There was a video. I have it here somewhere. We'll kind of go over it in a second. I think it's this video here. Let me see if I can pull up the right one. Maybe not. Wing patterns. Well, they had some video showing what they thought was a Tomahawk missile. It's right here, actually. Striking the compound. And that's what news outlets are saying, is it's striking the compound. And they're saying it's definitive evidence that the U.S. caused the missile strike. Now, I want to be clear. I don't know who caused the missile strike.
A 1,000-pound explosive warhead to send against targets inland.
But according to today, there is more debate as to whether this video helps the situation, whether it's adding anything, or whether it's proof that it wasn't the U.S., right? So you have major news outlets saying definitively this is the U.S.'s fault. You have other people online saying, no, this isn't clear at all, right? So it seems to still be in dispute, and the Department of War, I was going to say Department of Defense, but I forgot Trump changed it to Department of War. Department of War still hasn't come out with any full reporting, right? So here's some of the disputed points. I just pulled up a few. I don't know how accurate any of these are or aren't, right? We're still a little bit in the fog of war. So here is a guy, Matt Tardio, who says the evidence is clear. This is not a Tomahawk. That's his view of this video we just watched. He's saying it's not a Tomahawk, okay? Iran alleged an American Tomahawk cruise missile hit the school. He says AI analysis confirms the wings of the munition in question sit about 45% down, whereas a Tomahawk, they sit roughly 50% down. It says further, the video shows the munition in a steep dive angle for the final attack phase. Angle should be this. Conclusion. Now, I don't know, again, if any of this is accurate or if you can really be accurate or not in this situation. But he is pointing out some very valid points as to why this may cast doubt on the U.S. having been responsible for it, right? People are bringing up valid stuff. Here's someone else talking about the flight paths of the alleged missile. He says, I guess the same guy. He says, now it's confirmed, based on the direction of the attack, there's 0% chance, he says, that the USA fired a Tomahawk missile at the school. He says he's using Bellingcat's research, according to them, and verified by geolocation. The video in question was taken from the south or southwest of the targeted building. This means the munition in question that was on the video approached the building from the east. And he says that, ladies and gentlemen, is a problem for Iran's narrative. It points out that U.S. warships are off the coast of Oman, right? And he points out these differences in the flight patterns for what's being proposed versus what he's saying. And there's community notes. So just to point out, I don't know what the real results of this is going to be. I know they're still investigating, but people are bringing up valid debates about it still. You have Trump casting doubt initially on the Tomahawks. Here's a video of him here discussing it. I think he says, well, we can listen.
A Tomahawk missile likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. So will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I haven't seen it, and I will say that the Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries, you know that. And whether it's Iran, who also has some Tomahawks, I wish they had more, but whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic, it's sold to other countries. But that's being investigated right now.
And Trump's received some criticism for this recently. I mean, he's basically been, saying that he doesn't think it was us. He thinks it was Iran. Here he's saying that the Tomahawk is a missile that's frankly sold to a lot of other countries. So that casts doubt on whether it definitively was the U.S. or not. Now, Trump did later acknowledge, and I think this is the right move and the right way to handle it. I think it's just a tweet I'll pull up here. But this is Caitlin Collins, I believe she works at CNN, saying, pressed by this person on who is behind the strike on a girls' school in Iran. Given he's the only one in his admin who has said it was Iran, Trump says, because I just don't know enough about it, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report. Which is, I think, the right response. I'm willing to live with that report, right? So Trump there acknowledging that if the report shows, whatever it shows, basically he's going to stand by it, but he's letting the military conclude their investigation right now and see what happens. So that's kind of the final word on that from Trump for the moment. And And as I pointed out yesterday, it's unfortunate that it's become a political thing, but everything's political, especially when it comes to Trump. So, it's a tragedy that an all-girls school in particular was hit and struck. It would be tragic regardless of which country struck the thing, right? But it's been turned into something where, to my eye, the press is using it just to knock down Trump and knock down what he's been doing in Iran. And essentially, they are publicizing it not as, an Iran school, which if you read the actual reporting, it turns out this elementary school was once a part of this Iranian Revolutionary Guard naval base. That's how close to it was. It's not just close, it was part of the base. Recently was separated simply by a retaining wall, right? None of the initial reporting said, hey, the U.S. was striking a naval base right here, and building number 4 turned out to be an elementary school. It's just the U.S. has struck an elementary school in southern Iran, right? Which makes it sound like the U.S. is going around just hurling missiles at elementary schools, right? Which couldn't be further from the truth. So I didn't like the reporting at all. I kind of voiced that last night. We won't get into it again. But we'll see what happens with the investigation. Certainly a tragedy, obviously, either way. Okay, we've got a new Ayatollah. There's a new Ayatollah in town. I won't bore you by playing the video again tonight. I already played it before, but I did a parody of like a Zoom meeting, which is on the TikTok. It's in the Instagram and stuff. It's really funny. You should check it out. But I laugh at it still when I watch it myself. But so this was apparently the new Ayatollah they in fact elected was the son of Ayatollah Khomeini. His name is Mojtaba. And apparently he is injured. So this is the reporting out of, I don't know if we have a picture of him here. I'm thinking it would be good if we could pull something up, probably. Mojtaba injured. I have a lot of show notes with links, but this is not one of them. This is something we're going to get to in a sec. So this is him here. Mojtaba Khomeini. The reporting is that he was injured already before he actually officially got elected to be the new supreme leader. So I believe they're saying he was injured in that initial strike, which took out Ayatollah Khomeini, as well as many members of his family. I think his wife and some of his kids, maybe his daughters, were killed in that strike. And I think his son here was injured. I believe in the same strike, but I'm actually not sure. I would need to look it up a little bit more. Reporting is that he's injured. Well, today they actually did a ceremony, almost like a swearing-in ceremony for him, and they could only bring out a picture of him, a cardboard cutout of the new Ayatollah, rather than actually presenting him in person. So that is the current state of Iran, new Ayatollah, but he can't show up in person yet because he's injured, and people think that it's not too long before since apparently our AI is really good at identifying the location of world leaders at any given point in time. They got Maduro and snatched him up, Dick Khomeini, so apparently a bunch of other leaders, so we'll see. What else today? We got the Strait of Hormuz still going on. So one thing that happened is Trump came out, which I liked. I don't know if we'll be able to find, probably won't. Trump. I don't want to Google Trump guts, but Trump guts tweet. Basically, he was saying that the ships going through the Strait of Hormuz or thinking about it need to have some guts. Here's someone quoting him here. They say, President Trump told oil tankers, show some guts. Go through the strait. There's nothing that Iran's going to do. He's basically persuading these oil tankers to keep going through the strait, saying that we've eliminated Iran's navy, their military, and they're not going to do anything. And he came out as well, and he threatened Iran today, saying that if anyone did do anything to those tankers, the response would be, he says, incalculable.
Go alongside of them for protection. We don't think it'll be necessary. If it is, and if they do anything, the price will be incalculable. It will be so great that they will have wished they never did it, because you have to keep the straits flowing. With all of that, it affects other countries much more than it does the United States. It doesn't really affect us. We have so much oil. We have tremendous oil and gas, much more than we need. We have Venezuela now as our new partner, great partner. They've worked out so wonderful. We're working with the administration, the president, and it's a massive source of oil, gas, everything.
There's Trump there, threatening Iran. If anyone, one of the things he's been doing during this war, which I think is really interesting, I've never seen a president do it before, is he's kind of managing the economics and the economic optimism of people while he's waging war. So you have him in response to the Strait of Hormuz situation, encouraging oil tankers, private oil tankers, to go through the strait, saying that we're going to actually provide military escort for them. So offering reassurances to those financial markets. When Lloyd's of London pulled the insurance for those carriers going through the Strait of Hormuz, Trump again stepped in and offered for the United States to provide insurance services for all of those ships. So really trying to manage the economic aspects of this war and not let any type of panic or news or threats coming out of Iran affect the global financial markets and the market in the U.S. Which, people can criticize Trump all they want for being money-minded, but it's a really interesting thing that, again, I've never seen any president do in a war, to kind of offer those constant reassurances backed by U.S. might, if need be. The Strait of Hormuz, my understanding, I don't know how many ships are going through it now. I saw some conflicting tweets where one person had images of ships going through the Strait of Hormuz. I think this got community noted, so I'm not sure if this is an accurate image of actual ships that are going off. Rumor is that some ships are going through and they're just turning off their transponders to get through the Strait of Hormuz, but that's not confirmed yet. So it's mostly it. We'll do the jokes over again for anyone who showed up late. If I got don't look at the jokes, don't read them. I gotta hide them. See if I could do them. I think these will work. Well, a terrorist was filmed boosting himself off the back of a leftist protester to throw a bomb.
We were born and raised in New York, and we want everyone here to stay in New York. You don't get to come from outside and then tell everyone else.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah. Yeah, the leftist protester said the least he could do for his Muslim brothers was to bend over and offer a free backshot. He did get an assist for that. Putting some points on the board for the liberals. That joke goes kind of hard. That's what he said. The liberal guy. Trump claims we have sunk 46 Iranian naval ships. Yeah, Iran's trying to stay positive. They said they have just added 46 new submarines. Impressive. Yeah. Glass half full, whatever you can do. They just shot the glass. I'm told the glass is emptying. That's about it for tonight. That's all the jokes I got. I hope you guys enjoyed them. And we will see you again tomorrow night. I'll be here for the live stream. It's going to be Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube if you're not there yet. TikTok, if you're joining us here, they kick me off, so I can't always stream here. It's supposed to only be for gaming, okay? I don't do that, so I'll get banned for like a week or two, and I won't be back. But I'll be here Monday through Friday, like every night on YouTube if you want to subscribe. And it's pretty fun. That's just my tagline. It's pretty fun. All right, guys.